All right, so we got the front engine mounts out here, and then now I'll be able to put the engine in without those in the way, because we are going to do a side mount. So on to the next. All right, we got the master cylinder out there. This is the single master cylinder from the truck, and it is the original one. I believe casting date there of 56. The truck is a 1957, so it's due for a replacement. And this is going to be replaced with the, not the squeaky sign. This is going to be replaced with a dual master cylinder instead of the single here. A little more safer. Some backup. Let's show you the replacement engine that's going to go in the 57 Chevy truck. This engine came out of a 65 Chevy pickup that I found on Facebook. The engine was listed for $300. It was out there in Golden Valley and it was in the truck. I could hear it run before they pulled it out. So went out there, listened to it. It was running and working, and then they pulled it out, and this is the engine we have here. They took the alternator and the oil filter bracket, the oil filter bracket and that type of stuff on there. So we'll have to replace that and source that stuff for this truck. When I asked them about it, they were like, hey, we needed that. But of course, they didn't tell me when I was buying it, but that's just the way it goes. So let's show you the engine. Here's the engine with the flywheel removed. I took off the bell housing and the flywheel, and I put it up on this stand because I had to get it up off of the ground high enough to pull that flywheel off. Unfortunately, they took off the oil filter setup off of it and the alternator. So I will have to source that and among other things to get this thing going. So I put it up on this stand here because I needed to get it higher to take out the flywheel and that bell housing mount. So I could get the engine running here on this setup, but I'm actually going to make something that'll help me on this build right here for this truck, and in the future for the build for the 70 GMC that's out there. So what we're going to do is build an engine test stand that I can use to fire the engine, the replacement engine, for this 57 Chevy, make sure everything's all kosher and square on it before we go ahead and install it. And then in the future, this will be something that we'll be able to use here for the 350 Chevy build for the 70 GMC. So why this is important is the replacement engine for this 57 Chevy has different engine mounts. These on the later Chevys were side engine mount, whereas the mounts that were on that truck were the front engine mounts, the old, first series style, whereas later they updated to side engine mounts. So I just want to make sure this engine runs again. Everything's all buttoned up on it. We're good to go. Before I do the new mounts for the 57 Chevy, and what'll help me do that is making an engine stand or an engine test stand. So engine test stands are listed for about $600 on Amazon and on eBay. They're all kind of similar, made by the same company it looks like, and we are going to do something similar to that with a few additions, make it a little bit better, and do it on the super cheap. So what's going to be different about our test stand? It's going to be based on a metal pallet and have slots for pallet forks to move it around. So we won't have wheels on it per se. If we need to move it around, we'll move it around with the forklift and or a pallet jack or a tractor that has forks on the bucket, that type of thing. The other thing will be, other than the test stand that you could buy, it doesn't really have provisions set up on there for cooling and everything like that. So we're gonna make the test stand a little bit bigger so we can accommodate a radiator stand and stuff like that. And these are parts that we actually already have here. have a radiator or two that I could use for that. And all the parts that we're going to use are going to be either stuff I have on hand or super low buck and cheap. So every step of this engine test stand build will be done on the Resourceful Mechanic channel. The Resourceful Mechanic channel is my DIY channel here on YouTube, and you'll be able to follow that test stand build if you want to see how it's made, maybe even replicate something for yourself the same way. Everything will be shown there. I'll show you what I got so far. So what I did was took a quad shipping crate, and this is free metal that's getting thrown away on the daily. Dealerships around you nationwide. And what I did was, this is a real great base. This is a real great base to start out of. So it already has integrated pallet fork areas in it. And then, so I'm just making it, cutting it down to the proper width. This is gonna be just right about 48 inches wide. And this is going to be about 50, I don't know the exact measurement right now, that'll be in the build, but about 50 something inches long, a little bit longer than the current ones, the current engine test stands that they build now. So what's it over here for? What do I got to do? I got to cut off these tabs, grind these things off, and then I'll be able to attach the other bars of metal that I've cut from another crate of these in here. And this is, like I said, free metal. And it's not the thin stuff, you know, pretty hefty stuff on there. I think that's 3/16 wall, just right under 1/4. So this is going to be a very solid unit, and we're just going off a crate that was going to get thrown away. Free metal here. This thing is going to stand up to some abuse and some horsepower, and I'll be able to test that straight 6 engine right there, the engine for that other 350, and this beautiful car right here. This has the straight 6 motor that's going to get pulled out. This ran when parked. And this is the Ford inline-6 motor. So with that test stand, we'll be able to test this, run this, see what kind of condition it is, and if this is a viable motor engine, we'll be able to keep it, because these were great for agricultural pumps, generators, water pumps. So if we have one here, and if it's running awesome, this would be an excellent commercial power plant. So we have another engine that will go in this car that's out of a Lincoln. So we'll be keeping it Ford. And that engine test stand will service for that. As you can see here, I got a lot of work to do, so I'm gonna get back to it. If you wanna see the engine test stand build, follow on the Resourceful Mechanic channel. Everything will be on there. And if you'd like to follow along on this 57 Chevy pickup build, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. From the guy that lives in the gas station on Route 66, we'll see you in the next one.